Get to go a little bit deeper into some of the stories you guys have been responding to throughout Mornings On 2. If we could bring back the team from 99.7 Now, we were talking about with these three radio, I guess, guys and gal, about some of the kind of hot topics of the day. We got the news that pro wrestler Hulk Hogan died this morning, and I know that he had been in ill health. Ellen, I'll start with you. How did you react to the news when you first learned that Hulk Hogan had died?
It was shocking. It's not something I expected to see today, especially with like everything that we've been kind of going through with Ozzy just, a day or two ago. So it was like I'm still trying to process everything. And I'm like thinking back to all my memories, like childhood, just watching him, whether it was wrestling, whether it was, doing reality TV shows, whether it was a little action figure. Like he played a big part in a lot of our childhoods growing up. And so right now I'm just taking it all in and just kind of going through my memories and just really trying to piece what it means to me. But it's a huge loss. I mean, more than just a wrestler, he was a pop icon. Like he was a pop culture icon. Like there's so many layers to him and just what he left us with.
It's like if you knew one wrestler, it was Hulk Hogan, right, Benny?
100%, because I'm not a big wrestling guy. I never was. Although I do remember in '97, my dad was dating a girl at the time who was a wrestling fan, and she took me to the Cow Palace, and I did see Hulk Hogan in '97 here at the Cow Palace. But exactly. I mean, everyone knows Hulk Hogan. Yeah. And can we just backtrack? I mean, it's been a little bit of a heavy week, right? 'Cause Sunday. The passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner, of course, Theo Huxtable from The Cosby Show, then Ozzy, and then this, and you two can relate for what you do. We're on the air, so we got the Hulk Hogan news while we're live on the air, and you got to pivot, you got to jump on the air, you have to talk about it, and as Ellen said, we're processing it in real time,
I remember covering the trial involving Hulk Hogan. I lived in Tampa for a little bit, which is where he lived. He lived in Clearwater, which is, a suburb of the Tampa area, and covering the case and what a big deal he was in that area. His son got into a car accident on one of the bridges that crosses over the Tampa Bay, he's a big presence in that area as well. And so he was very involved in the community. He was friends with a radio star. You guys remember the controversy surrounding him and Bubba the Love Sponge back in the days. So
Absolutely.
I covered that case. And I also remember back, Ellen and Benny, I think about, growing up with the name Hulk Hogan in your ear. I remember when I first moved to this country, one of the first things that people said to me, they had not heard the name Andre, believe it or not, in the 80s, but it was Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. I was never into wrestling, but it was impossible not to know who he was because he was such a part of everyday life. WWE, WWF at the time made him into such a household name that it's just incredible. He helped really build the WWE into what it is today on his name. I just watched a documentary not too long ago on Vince McMahon. He was in that documentary talking about his time working with the organization as well. So I mean, that's so I do keep on top of what he is doing just because he's been such a part of my life, even though I'm not a wrestling fan per se.
I didn't realize he was so. I mean, of course, he called himself the Hulk, but I'm running down. I'm looking at an obituary. He was. I didn't know this. 6'8".
Yeah.
6'8" and 300 pounds in his prime.
Yeah. And
Wait. Hulk Hogan?
Right.
6'8"?
I thought he was like maybe 6'8".
I knew he was a big beefy man, but
yeah.
I didn't know 6'8" either.
Yeah, this way, I didn't know he was tall.
Yeah, he's big both ways. So I was like, wow, I didn't realize he was quite that size.
Yeah, he was a big guy. I mean, the reason I remember is because they had a reality show, if you guys remember, on one of the cable TV channels, and his daughter was on it. And I remember her being pretty, maybe it was on E, and I remember she was pretty, Brooke Hogan, I remember she being pretty tall as well, and she was kind of like just under his size. But I don't think Nick Hogan was that tall, if I remember correctly.
6'8" is whoosh.
No, Brooke was tall because I remember she had a short-lived music career, but I went to lunch at the Cheesecake Factory with Brooke Hogan when she was like trying to get a record, on the radio during this was mid-2000, like 2005, 6, somewhere in there. And she's 5'11", she's tall. But I remember, she came and obviously from the show. I knew who she was, and she had this song that we did play. It was a pretty good song. But I remember we went to the Cheesecake Factory and got those fried mac and cheese balls.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll mention real quick, you guys, we're popping up the YouTube page because as of very recently, we are streaming Take Two also over on KTVU's YouTube page. So that's an opportunity for those of you who are watching at home to kind of weigh in. We had a quick note from Francis Damien saying what happened. So again, we're just talking about the news we received. I think it was in the mid 8 o'clock hour, maybe close to 9 a.m. The news that Hulk Hogan had died, pro wrestler. Again, if you knew one name in pro wrestling, it was his. So that's kind of what we're discussing. Can we skip back to something you guys discussed earlier? We reported on it yesterday. Now we're kind of more digesting this whole idea by Uber to let riders specifically ask for a female driver. And I guess I'll start with you, Ellen. Do you like this idea? Would you use the idea? I think it's obviously a push to promote kind of safety and a sense of well-being. Women might certainly feel safer if there's another woman in the car with them instead of a man.
I do like this idea because it does make us feel like we're more in control. It makes us feel, even in a sense, safer when there is another woman there, especially like for me, if I'm out with the girls, you know, I've had some drinks and now I'm like, okay, let me get home safe. I guess that's where I would feel safer with a woman Uber or Lyft driver. But I do have to point out, though, even though I think this is a step in the right direction to make us feel safer, I mean, you just have to be alert at all times, no matter what. Like, I know that's a big, that it sounds nice, and I wish the world was like that. But I think regardless, you always have to have your guard up. You always have to make sure you're paying attention to what car you're getting into. Yeah. You know, look out for your friends, too, when you put them in a car. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of service it is. Like, always, be alert and, have your guard up. I mean, that's all I can say about that. But I do like that at least they're trying to do something about it.
I mean, you can choose the type of person you want to deal with in medical care. So I suppose, you should be able to choose. Point. I mean, we live in a world where you have options at all times. So this seems to be, just part of that expansion of being able to choose what it is that you want to experience and how you want to interact with people, right?
It's true.
Yeah. And I love that it works both ways. I love that the Uber drivers can also opt to pick up a woman if they, if they're driving late at night and they don't want to have some creepy guy in the back seat. Exactly. I get that too. I like that.
Yeah, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Detroit are the pilot cities for the new feature that's being rolled out in the next few weeks. So we'll see it here at least, and some people will be able to try it when they open the app. They're able to perhaps even maybe they'll use it here in the Bay Area sometime soon. So yeah, it's interesting. What about you? I mean, is that something that you would use?
I don't take Uber a lot. I think the last time I used it was probably maybe a year ago, and it was early morning. I was coming back. I was at the airport, and I happened to get a female driver, and I thought, oh, okay, this is nice. But I hadn't thought to specifically look for one or reject a male. So, again, I take it so infrequently. I don't think it'll have a huge impact on my life. I do like that the option is out there. Yeah. So we have to take a super quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the story of the day unfolding in Vallejo. Rats. It's a whole thing. Our James Torres just came back from Vallejo. So we have to hang up with you guys. Thank you so much, Ellen and Betty. We get to see you every Thursday, and we look forward to doing it again next week. And we love you for joining us on Take Two.
Bye. Thank you.
We'll be back.
See you soon. Bye.
Stick with us. Welcome back to a story we've been covering all morning long. James Torres is here. We're going to ask about your experience out in Vallejo. We sent him out on reports of rats overtaking parts of the city there. This is some of the video that he and his photographer, Greg Rinsell, caught. Take a look and a listen. That's the sound of rats, people. if you've been fortunate enough not to hear it, let's bring in our James Torres here. You came right back. This is video you guys took this morning.
This is what we saw just this morning.
In the hours you were there.
In a span of probably about a half hour, I would say, around the ferry terminal there. You may have noticed the shot of the fence. There's a dumpster behind that.
Right.
Dumpster you could typically expect. Some rats, but the people who work near, who use that dumpster for their job, say it's just infested. And you may have noticed what looks like kind of a long stick or a boom.
Yeah.
We attached our microphone to the stick.
Oh, to get the audio.
Just to get the audio.
Just to, keep our distance, pick up the audio a little better, but also have a little bit of distance.
I wonder how many rats did you see out there while in your time out there? I mean, does it a few, like 3?
A lot. More
10?
than I have ever seen in my life, I could say.
Really?
Comfortably.
And it sounded like there would be a lot more in that dumpster area. I mean, to me, I don't know, but it sounded like there could be 40 rats, in that dumpster.
Here's why we thought to catch the audio of that, because we pulled into the parking lot of the ferry terminal. This is 4:30 in the morning.
Early.
It's
dark.
Right. It's dead quiet for the most part. Right. No cars are really on the roadway. Once you step outside the car, you hear that squeaking right away.
Might be able to hear it now.
You might.
A
little bit more difficult if you hear it now because there are so many cars now. Traffic is passing through. But you step outside, you're wondering what on earth is that? It's a terminal, so really noises could be coming from all around. But you step a little closer to the dumpster and you're like, yeah, that's them. And then you see the rats coming in and out. Some of them are just hanging out on the grass and the lawns until there's more activity of people.
I like that the rats are on top of the box that's meant to trap them.
To catch it. I think these rats have no fear.
They don't.
They don't. And here's kind of, here's the difference about working on a morning show compared to the 5, 6, or 10 p.m. news. We don't know everything at 5 a.m. We learn a lot more by 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. compared to what we learned at 5 a.m. and even more at noon. You watch the 6 p.m. news, you know everything by then, right? So we're learning throughout the morning with you as we're talking about the story. What we learned on our way back here, the state of California actually passed a law last year kind of supporting the most strict rodent abatement in the country.
Okay.
So what it used to be was you'd have a rat problem, you'd put some sort of bait in there, the rats would eat it, they get poisoned, you kill them, other rats pick up on it. It kind of happens pretty quickly.
Okay.
Now, this new law prevents a lot of that because they want to prevent a lot of secondhand killing. They say a lot of other wildlife are coming in.
Like if an owl eats a rat, you don't want the owl to die.
Skunks, squirrels, things like that. So now, the abatement that they use, you eat the bait, but these rats have to eat it more than once in order for it to work. So I talked to a group of these exterminators, asking them, okay, say there was significant action taken today. How long until you see change? They say it could take months.
Wow.
Months before you see a difference if you started today, because these rats would have to eat it more than once for the effect to take place. And rats are known to reproduce every 6 weeks.
Right, that's what I was saying.
Wow.
Yeah, they come out. There are a lot of them.
We're fighting a losing battle.
The initial option before they use a new type of poison on them would kill them right away. Was that the idea?
It was a lot quicker.
A lot quicker.
Yeah. Right.
By the way, T Hammer on YouTube said, on our chat said, call the Pied Piper to Vallejo.
Right.
But it's a very serious problem.
And I feel you are going to feel a way for the people who work here. And that ferry terminal where we're shooting some of that video, that is surrounding a coffee shop and a tap room. I got to figure food. They said, we talked to the baker inside, and they were like, customers are leaving reviews about it. Customers are leaving notes about it. And it's not our fault. Right. We didn't do anything that contribute to this, but of course,
this is a city's building.
It's a customer. You walk in, the first thing you see rats. Of course, what are you going to
blame? That you're going to blame wherever you're looking. Right.
So there are financial ramifications, but there also could be like health and safety issues here. I mean, rats are not just unpleasant to see.
That is the scariest part.
Take it away.
And a lot of folks here, they laugh it off because it's so ridiculous. Right? It seems so strange and something you've never seen before. They certainly don't shrug it off. And I looked up on the CDC some of the dangers, and you don't have to be bitten by by a rat. You don't even have to touch a rat in order to feel some of the effects, the potential dangers that they offer. You could take a whiff of some of the rodent feces, and that can get you really sick. I think was it Gene Hackman who?
Oh no, yeah, Gene Hackman and his wife.
Right.
Yeah,
those are hantavirus, isn't it?
Yes,
hantavirus, one.
Which is something that's more direct contact with a rat.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could still get some really nasty illnesses.
I feel for everybody involved. I get that you're grossed out by the rats. Trust me, I know that feeling. But I also recognize the area where I live, we've got a bit of open space that backs up to our house, right? Rats came into my husband's, this car and the, I guess, engine, whatever, $3,000 worth of rodent damage because we are living in their backyard. And I have neighbors who say we are constantly fighting a rat problem, rat or mouse, I don't really know. And so people pay a ton of money to these, I mean, it's not just exterminators. Then you hire someone who's like, I'm going to seal up your house. And they look at every nook and cranny.
I
think it's like a mouse can slip through a hole the size of a pencil eraser. It's ridiculous. So I think it's a losing battle. And I think most people, if they were honest, would acknowledge they've either had or might currently have an issue with rats or rodents in their home or business.
I just want to ask, but are there preventative measures you can take around your house? Because, we often talk about, mosquitoes, and taking out, pooled water in your house, making sure you have. So are there abatement issues you can take on your own?
When it comes to your house, tons of things you can do. When it comes to a waterfront business, it's really hard.
And a dumpster full of food every night?
Exactly.
That's like, come on over.
And a lot of these folks are attributing this massive migration of rats. They say it's really picked up in the last 2 weeks to a month.
Wow.
Specifically the 4th of July, they say there was a homeless encampment that was nearby that the city had cleared out, and there was all this trash left over, and because it was kind of an open space all of a sudden, a lot of those rats likely moved to the waterfront because they really like water sources, not to mention a dumpster full of bread and
croissants
all these,
and sandwiches.
exactly, delicious food that you and I love.
It is my understanding, though, rats are not uncommon behind restaurants. I mean, this is not something that you can really avoid altogether if you have a restaurant. Rats are going to come.
Again, a dumpster you expect to see.
But in this,
one or two.
but the number that we see here seems to be
you don't
expect
to see rats on the lawn in front of a restaurant or the back patio
making so much noise you can hear it.
I hate to make this even more disturbing than it already is. You see many of them dead on the roadway too, which you don't see plenty of, I think, in a normal circumstance.
We have some...
Jackson, real quick, I just wanted to mention this. Taz Jackson says, I'm in Vallejo and we've started having rat issues 2 months ago. Tried everything. They are smart. Traps don't work. Now at night we sleep with loud hawks sounding to stop the noise.
In 2025, we know all species adapt to a lot of different things. Rats know what traps are. The exterminator I was talking to said there were a ton of videos that they have produced themselves in some instances where they see the rat acknowledges the trap, they navigate it, and if they can figure out how to set off the trap to steal the food, they will, and if they can't, they'll just run away. So a trap is never going to trap a rat. It may prevent them from moving forward, but it's certainly not going to do anything more than that.
Right. Do you have a second to stay with us for a little bit more? Because we want to go deeper into the question we've been asking viewers about buying an electric vehicle or not. A lot of people are making the switch. A lot of people still leery on making the switch. We can talk about some things that are affecting these choices. So keep weighing in, just so you guys know. We are broadcasting this live on TV, bringing back the rat noises. So if you have thoughts on either the rats in Vallejo or on this whole electric vehicle thing, if you're looking to buy an EV, if you stayed away from EVs until now, let us know why. We will share your comments as you guys weigh in live here on Take Two. We'll be back. Take two in our final minutes here. We wanted to talk about this possible switch to EVs for more people, but we have some, and I never thought I'd say this when I went to journalism school, some breaking rodent news. James Torres out in Vallejo today where they're dealing with rats. You just got an update actually in this break we just took.
Yeah, you know, originally the plan was for the city to bring a contractor out to the area, take an assessment, look at what the situation looks like, and then figure out what they would need to do moving forward. We just got word from the city that that contractor had to reschedule, so they won't have an exterminator contractor out there today, and they're looking to reschedule that as soon as possible.
So we're looking at a restaurant and a coffee shop that they're stuck.
Yeah.
They're losing business.
They're losing business for now.
All right, let's see if maybe like the city of Vallejo can do something to help make them whole or something.
Yeah.
I feel for those. I feel for the people who work there.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
do. I really do. And the customers, after seeing this and hearing about this, you know, are probably going to want to stay away for a little bit. I mean, people are scared to death of mice. I mean, people are afraid of dogs, so imagine what people feel about when they see
It's well known, too. I mean, we had our cameras set up, our crew was there, and people would come up and they would just say,
Are you here for the rats?
You're here for the rats?
Right.
Like, yeah,
Right.
we are here for the rats.
You didn't have to look for anybody.
Exactly.
You found the rats and the people.
Right away.
Yeah.
Right away.
Let's swing over just in the seconds we have left. We've been discussing this question of whether or not you have considered making the switch to an electric vehicle. If you are sticking with your gas-powered, we'll note that while prices for electric vehicles have come down somewhat dramatically in recent years, it still costs on average about $2,800 more to buy an electric vehicle compared to an almost identical model of a gas-powered version. So there is that upfront initial investment, but then guess what? You're not going to the gas station. That's one of the factors that's kind of pushing people one way or another.
I mean, I own an EV car.
A fully electric.
A fully electric car. Yeah, you plug in, and it is nice never to go to a gas station. I don't drive that much, so I don't even have to charge it that much. You know, I maybe charge it once a week unless I'm going to a distant location. Then I'll charge it, and the supercharges are pretty quick, just depending. You can get your car fully charged in, you know,
when you say 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
to go from
zero to 100%.
How many miles is that about?
That's like 300 miles.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's, you know, just like a normal gas-powered car. But I mean, I have had times where I've run low and I wasn't close to one.
Yeah.
Did you panic? Like I'm panicking for you right now.
I did. I mean, I was like at 1%, and I was like, I needed to get back to my place to plug it in, and I made it on fumes.
Yeah.
But that was a little nervous. And I would also say, you brought this up, I drove cross country back in November for Thanksgiving to visit family back on the East Coast. And I decided,
the EV?
I did not, because they had EV charging stations all the way from San Francisco to Atlanta. But the problem was it would have taken me twice as long. So instead of a 2-day trip, it would have taken me 4 days because when you space it out, you have to stop, charge, stop, charge, stop, charge. Yeah. So that was it. So I decided to rent a gas-powered car to do that because you can fill that up in no time.
Okay. Have you considered it, James?
You know, I never used to care about EVs. Car was a car to me until I rented a car last time I went home and got lucky to get stuck with an EV, and I fell in love right away.
Did you?
Right away. The way it drove, how smooth it was. They're awesome cars.
Yeah.
But I think of that same thing. You take a long trip, and you're at the mercy of wherever these stations are.
I don't know. I mean, look, if I'm driving to Southern California, if I'm driving to Lake Tahoe, it's no problem for me.
Yeah.
It was just a cross-country trip that I had an issue with.
Right. Okay.
But I'll drive it anywhere. I mean, anywhere within the state, Nevada, Oregon, anything like that.
Yeah. We have to hang it up. We're about done for take two here. Thanks so much for joining us. Cameron said
KTVU on the record. I'm Andre Sr. Thank you for joining me today. It is the summer travel season. Many people are traveling by air, and they're also renting cars. Well, there is a new development in the car rental business now. They're using high-tech cameras and artificial intelligence when you return your car to track the damage on your car. So we're talking about the tiniest little ding on that car. These cameras and AI will pick up. And we've gotten some reports already of customers getting hit for small dings on their car. They're getting hit with $350 bills, specifically from Hertz Car Rental, because they're the first one we know so far that's added this artificial intelligence and these high-tech cameras to the return policy. And we're seeing complaints from customers because they're getting these bills after they've returned the car. A few hours later, then they get a notice from the car rental agency. Usually you had a person and they made that judgment call.
right now they have technology, and does that technology differentiate from when you have what is normal wear and tear to something that you actually did to damage the car during the rental process? You could be driving down the highway, the car gets dinged by a rock. That happens all the time. Is that your responsibility if it's a super tiny thing? So I spoke with Brett Evans. He is a journalist at CarBuzz. He initially was the person I found doing some reporting, and I had a chance to speak with him. Here's what he told me. Brett Evans from CarBuzz joins us to talk about something that a lot of us are going to be doing here, traveling and renting cars. I read your article the other day. It popped up on my algo on Google News, and I was like, holy crap, because I just rented a car. And I go to Atlanta a lot because my family lives there. So I go to Hartsfield, and this is where your article centered around. So what we're talking about is AI, new automated technology that will scan when you rent a car, scan to see how the car is looking. Are there any dings and dangs and anything like that? And then, when it comes back and when you turn the car, it will do that scan again, and it will tell us whether or not there's any damage to the car. Brett, tell us a little bit about what you learned while reporting on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a freelance automotive journalist, and I did this story for CarBuzz, which is part of the Valnet group. And one of the things that I learned was that in April, Hertz established a new partnership with a company called UVI, and